In 2013, Hell's Kitchen aired a family night dinner service that came seconds away from poisoning a pregnant woman on national television. And the woman in question was the wife of one of the show's own sous chefs.
Chef James's wife is pregnant.
The episode was Season 11, Episode 8, titled 14 Chefs Compete. Family Night is one of the most emotionally loaded services the show ever runs. It is the night when the families of the cast and crew come in to eat, the one night where every dish leaving that pass is going directly to someone a member of the Hell's Kitchen staff loves. The contestant at the center of what went wrong was Barrett Beyer, a line cook from Long Island with a reputation for being loud and aggressive on camera. When the order came in for a chicken dish, Barrett cooked it, plated it, and pushed it up to the pass for Ramsay to inspect. The moment Ramsay touched it, the problem was obvious. The chicken was not slightly pink or borderline undercooked, it was raw in the middle. Then came the detail that turned the scene into one of the most talked about moments of the entire season. That chicken had been ordered for sous chef James Avery's pregnant wife. James had been standing at that pass, watching plates go out all night, and the dish his own wife had been waiting for was the one that had just come back contaminated. Fellow contestant John Scallion said it on camera in the simplest possible words that raw chicken, unlike most proteins, can kill somebody, and he was not exaggerating. Salmonella and Campylobacter in undercooked poultry are dangerous for any healthy adult, but in a pregnant woman, the consequences can include miscarriage, stillbirth, or severe harm to the baby. This was not a send it back and refire situation. This was a life or death moment captured in real time on a television set. What turned stomachs wasn't just that it happened. It was Barrett's reaction after. On camera, Barrett admitted that he had known the chicken was undercooked before he sent it to the pass. He had seen it and plated it anyway because his reasoning was that Ramsay would catch it and send it back, and that would be easier than refiring the protein himself. He had gambled with a pregnant woman's food to save himself time on the line. Ramsay screamed at him out of the station, and the show cut to commercial. In 2007, Hell's Kitchen cast a contestant who was already visibly too sick to be in the kitchen, and less than 3 episodes later, he was in the back of an ambulance.
Oh, shit.
He's a medic. Behind. Medic.
His name was Aaron Song, a 48-year-old retirement home chef from the Los Angeles area, and he was a diabetic. From the very first episode of Season 3, something about him looked wrong on camera. He moved slowly, struggled to keep up with prep, and was sweating in scenes where nobody else was. Teammates said in their confessionals that he did not look well, and viewers at home could see it just as clearly. On the morning the show filmed Episode 3, titled 10 Chefs Compete, Aaron could not get out of bed. 2 of his teammates, Rock Harper and Brad Thomas, had to physically help him get dressed and walk him down to the kitchen. He should never have been taken onto that set that day, but he was taken anyway. Later in the episode, the losing team was handed a punishment that involved hauling heavy bags across the property. Mid-task, Aaron collapsed.
Oh, shit.
He's a medic. Behind. Medic.
The cameras caught the moment his body gave out. An ambulance was called. He was stretchered off the set and taken directly to the hospital. Ramsay later called him on the ward and told him gently that he would not be returning to the competition. What never aired is what happened after. Aaron's health continued to deteriorate in the years following Season 3, and in 2010, 3 years after his collapse, he died from diabetes-related complications at the age of 51. His passing forced a lot of longtime viewers to go back and re-watch those early episodes, and the consensus was brutal. A man who could not get out of bed on his own had been handed a chef's jacket and walked into a television kitchen anyway. In the same 2007 season that nearly killed Aaron Song, Hell's Kitchen came dangerously close to poisoning an entire dining room, and the contestant behind it never even noticed what she was doing. Her name was Joanna Randolph, a 27-year-old cocktail waitress from Las Vegas who had been cast on Season 3, despite having one of the thinnest professional kitchen resumes in the entire group. From the first service, she had struggled. She was slow on her station, uncertain on timing, and other contestants had already started pulling away from her as a teammate. But nobody could have predicted what was about to happen during dinner service in Episode 3.
Yes, chef.
It started with a smell. Ramsay was walking through the red kitchen when something stopped him. He turned, sniffed the air, and walked directly toward Joanna's station. The closer he got, the worse it became. When he finally reached her prep area and picked up the container she had been cooking out of, his face changed. He brought it to his nose and recoiled. The crab meat inside had gone completely rotten, not slightly past its best, or borderline questionable. Ramsay held it up to the camera and screamed that she was going to kill someone.
You'll kill someone!
then slammed the container into the bin. Every contestant in the kitchen went still. What made the moment so unsettling was not just the rotten seafood itself. It was the fact that Joanna had been standing directly over that container for an extended period of prep and had not noticed a single thing wrong with it. The smell was strong enough that Ramsay picked it up from across a professional kitchen, and Joanna, working right on top of it, had either lost her sense of smell entirely or been so overwhelmed by the chaos of service that she had stopped registering what was in front of her. Ramsay's response was one of the most extreme in the show's history. He did not just shut down her station, he pulled another chef in to take it over entirely, and then did something he had almost never done before, and has rarely done since. He went out to the front of house and instructed Maitre d' Jean-Philippe to start recommending customers to different restaurants for the rest of the night, because the kitchen could no longer guarantee the food coming out of it was safe. In a show built on near misses and close calls, this was the closest Hell's Kitchen has ever come to sending a table of paying customers to the hospital with food poisoning from spoiled shellfish. Joanna was eliminated shortly after and never cooked on the show again. By the time season 4 of Hell's Kitchen reached its midpoint, one contestant had already become a problem his own team could not work around, and the reason for it was something nobody on the line had thought to check until the dishes started coming back.
Oh no.
The pasta is not cooked properly.
One more pappardelle on the fly, pasta undercooked.
Matt Siegel came in as a trained chef with enough confidence to assume he belonged there. For the first few services, he held his ground reasonably well, but a pattern had become impossible to ignore by the middle of the season. He sweated constantly, not just in the way any chef does under heat, but visibly and persistently in almost every scene. His teammates mentioned it in confessionals. Corey had already flagged that he was careless and making stupid mistakes, and told producers she would be watching his station all service to compensate. The show treated it as background noise, another personality clash to cut between. During the episode 9 service, the Red Kitchen started falling apart fast. The first pasta appetizer Matt sent to the pass came back too salty. Ramsay pulled the whole team over, made every one of them taste it, and told Matt to start again. The second attempt went out and came back too. Then a third, with customers sending the same dish back repeatedly and nobody on the line able to explain why the seasoning kept going wrong, because Matt's technique had not visibly changed between attempts. Ramsay walked over, watched him work for a few seconds, and the answer was right in front of him. Matt had been bent over the pasta station for the entire service, and his sweat was dripping directly into the pots, salting the food from above and going out to the dining room without anyone at the pass catching it because there was nothing visually wrong with the plate. Ramsay told him he was not Homer Simpson and ordered him to put a white bandana around his head before he touched another pot. What I think gets completely lost in how people share this clip is that multiple dishes had already reached customers before Ramsay caught it. This was not one bad plate that got stopped at the pass. The footage shows pasta going out, coming back, being refired, and going out again, which means the same thing was happening across the entire service, and nobody upstream noticed because sweat does not leave a mark on a plated dish. After service, Corey told him plainly he should consider a career in car sales, and Ramsay reminded him during lineup that he was on borrowed time. Matt said in the dorms that he had to work his ass off to stay, acknowledged the damage, and moved on. He finished 6th in the season. The bandana made it into the show's promotional footage. The customers from that service were never brought up again. Robert Hesse was a chef from New Jersey who came onto season 5 in 2009, having already done something most contestants would never do. He had canceled his own wedding to be on the show. He was around 400 pounds, moved slower than most of the other chefs, and yet had made it further than people who looked far more capable than him. By the time only 5 contestants were left, he was still one of them. Production flew the remaining chefs to the Borgata Hotel in Atlantic City as a reward. They got to see the empty space that would one day become the winner's restaurant, and that evening sat down for dinner with the hotel's top restaurant staff. Partway through the meal, Robert quietly got up and left the table. He had been having chest pains. The hotel paramedic checked his blood pressure and read back 160/100, then told him she could not rule out a heart attack and that he needed to go to the hospital. He was admitted and stayed the night. Back at Hell's Kitchen, one of the other contestants, Ben, answered a phone call from him, and the sound of a hospital monitor beeping in the background said everything before Robert had a chance to. A few days later he came back, not to compete, but to tell Ramsay and the others what the doctors had found. He had pericarditis, which is a swelling of the sac around the heart, and his doctor had said he could not carry on. He handed over his chef's jacket and went down the line to say something to every person in the room. The show continued without him. Robert Hesse suffered 3 full heart attacks in the years that followed. A man who had put his wedding on hold and pushed through weeks of brutal kitchen filming on a body that was already struggling, while the cameras that captured all of it kept rolling. Louis Cordio had 25 years of professional kitchen experience when he walked into Hell's Kitchen for the Season 6 premiere. He ran a diner, sold 5 gallons of sausage gravy a week, and when Ramsay tasted his signature dish during the opening challenge and called it something you would serve to pigs, Louis stood there looking genuinely confused, as if the problem was with the tasting and not the food. He was put on the meat station for opening night service, responsible for lamb and chicken. Within minutes, he had wandered over to someone else's station and started cooking garnished spinach that had nothing to do with him, and Ramsay had to pull him back and tell him to stay on his own station and let everyone else do their jobs. What came up to the pass was a piece of lamb so badly cut that both sides looked completely different from each other, and Ramsay held it up in front of the whole team and accused Louis of having taken a bite out of it. When Ramsay then walked over to his station, he found a large pile of wasted, ruined lamb sitting there that had been building up the entire service while Louis worked around it. Ramsay told him to get upstairs and pack his bags, and when Louis asked twice whether he could stay and help,
Can I help in the kitchen?
You can help me! Get out!
Ramsay told him the only way he could help was by leaving. The kitchen closed that night without finishing service. Louis walked out through the delivery dock, shouting that Ramsay could kiss his ass on the way out, and there was no lineup, no ceremony, and no vote from his teammates. He is the only contestant in the show's history to be removed before any elimination process could begin, thrown out during the very first service of the very first episode he was ever in, with 25 years of experience and a station full of ruined lamb left behind him.